Hey, it's Will and Xavier with Net Family Financial. Doing top 50 questions. Today we're going over the top 50 pain points found expense agents, and I'll point out which one of these it falls under: knowledge problem, a skill problem, or a systems problem.
Low conversion on final expense leads.
You know, I made a whole video post about this. Your 5 to 30%, depending on the type of lead, how quick you get to them. These are top agents. You know, it's if you're relying on the same exact lead piece over and over and over again in the same territory over and over and over again, you're going to have a lower conversion on that as well.
Can't get quality age leads.
Quality age leads. I mean, they're age leads. Again, that's you're buying them. You're taking a shot. Okay, you figure if you can convert about 0.5%, you're good.
Difficulty recruiting producing agents.
Are you just hiring people because they're warm bodies, or are you vetting to make sure that you're getting somebody that has the skill set, qualifications that you're actually looking for? And it's a high turnover industry.
Agent retention is terrible.
Same thing. It is. It's high turnover. Some of that can be fixed with a few of these things, but not all of it. There's people that just aren't going to make it.
Chargebacks eating into commissions.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Hate to say it. It's part of the business. You lose some of the business. You know, Walmart takes returns. You got a restaurant selling chicken wings. You send out a bad batch, you got to dump it. You're going to lose some stuff just naturally, but there's a big chunk of it. If you're trained, or if you're training your people right, and they're talking to their clients, in the right manner, asking the right questions, it should eliminate a lot of it. If you've got 1 or 2 bad eggs, that's not necessarily training or skills. That's a bad egg situation.
Burnout from constant door knocking.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be burnt out too if the stuff that I was running was dead wood.
Competing with funeral homes.
You're not competing with funeral homes. You're not competing with funeral homes. Funeral homes, if you're competing with pre-need, it's a super expensive setup. Learn your industry. This will never be a problem for you again.
Clients don't see the urgency.
It's all in the setup, from start to finish. How you have the conversation, how you prep it. If you're on the phone, don't be monotone. Be excited. There's a part of matching their tone, but you still gotta, the probing questions, knowing what these people are looking for, is part of it. If you don't find out why they're looking for life insurance, why they reached out, why they sent this lead piece in, why they got a line up for this information out, you haven't made it to the baseline. You're not even ready to ask your first qualifying question. If you can't get that answer out of them, I don't move forward. If they can't give me a reason for what has them looking, I will sit there.
No shows on appointments.
Learn a system. No, as far as you shouldn't be sitting them out longer than today or tomorrow. They can eliminate a lot of it. If on the phones or door knocking, if you can't schedule them to see you today or tomorrow, very, very minimal exceptions to that rule. You don't have a rule appointment anyway.
Can't scale past personal production.
Yeah, that's a system. That's you'll survive on a 10% override situation.
Don't know which carriers pay best.
We do. I mean, depends on where you're at with a lot of companies. If you get brought in too far down the downline, doesn't matter if you know what they will pay. If that's what you're talking about,
Prospects already have coverage.
Yeah, half the people that send these in have coverage. It's all the setup. Did you send this in? Are you looking for a little extra because you've had yours for a while? You want to make sure you got some cushion, or did you want something specific for the funeral?
Family members interfere with sale.
Because you're not getting them involved. You're not explaining to them why you're here for them. Like, hey, Mr. Client, the son's there, the daughter's there. They start off, they want to, they're there to protect mom or dad, for sure. But hey, I'm glad you asked that. I'm actually really glad you're here. It's unfortunate how often I don't get to meet with the kids, the family, the beneficiaries. Let me explain to you what we're going to do for you when this happens, when the time comes.
Unsure how to handle health issues. Yeah.
Every carrier is different, every underwriting situation. If you're talking about when they ask the health questions, just, I don't know, pretend like it. I don't know where I guess I don't understand. Unsure how to handle the health issues. These people are at the final expense, they're going to have health issues. If you don't know where to place them, you don't know your carriers. You don't know what you're capable of doing. You weren't trained. It's really that simple. Every carrier you deal with is going to have some sort of list of underwriting guidelines, be able to explain to you where to place people, things like that.
Lead costs, eating all profit.
Lead costs. If you pay $500 for a pack of leads or $1,000 for a pack of leads, how many leads did you go through to get that first sale? Track those numbers. How many sales per week? How many sales per day? And either find a better lead source. I provide free leads for all of my agents, but not everybody else can do that. A lot of people have to pay for leads. I had to pay for leads for 10 years. You just know your numbers, you know your system.
Can't get approved for good contracts, but
there's no not getting approved for good contracts. A lot of companies, you're just so that a lot of companies just are set up where you have you're too far down the line. You're in upline purgatory. As long as you can't get approved, there's nothing there. There's nowhere to send you. They'd rather you leave and then hopefully you haven't been vested. It's not like getting everything that you left on the table, because they're only making 10 points because they still got 5 dudes in front of them. Welcome to Lincoln Heritage. Well,
struggling with phone sales techniques.
that's kind of learning. Part of you just got to go through it. The other part of that is, are they bad? Are you changing them? If you're making a call with a script and you're 5-6 calls, or you did all your calls a day, I don't care if it's 100, and then just because you didn't have success today, you're switching it up today or tomorrow. One of my old mentors used to say, it doesn't matter what it is, whatever you're implementing, what you're trying, do it for 60 days minimum. Track your numbers. If it works, improve on it. If it doesn't, try something else.
No marketing budget to start.
Nobody knows, man. I mean, I started with $26 in my account. My wife got paid once a month. I literally traded a car in because I knew I was going to be doing this and driving a ton. I had a Suburban, traded in for a car with better gas mileage. And used cars, they don't generally fill up your tank. And I was going to walk away. I needed gas. I trained on Monday, did a ride along. Did a ride along on Tuesday, was in the field my first day. On Wednesday, wrote my first door I knocked on, wrote the policy, got mailed me a check. I mailed it in before, I knocked a couple of the doors, but I mailed it in as quick as I could because we didn't submit online. So, got paid on Friday, had gas money to cover me until she got paid a few days later.
Compliance issues and state regulations.
State regulations are state regulations. Compliance, that sort of thing, there's nothing you can really do about that. Like, know it, don't break the rules. You went over this when you had your license.
Training programs that don't work.
Yeah, I've interviewed tons of people. A lot of programs, if your training program is hop on this Zoom once a week, and the guy's like, hey, Natalie gave her, she did $35,000 her first 6 minutes in the business, and all of your training is just YouTube clips, you're at the wrong shop.
Inconsistent monthly income.
If you put in inconsistent work inconsistent hours, you'll have inconsistent income. Period. I will do a video on this. But if you're door knocking 10 doors a day and your door approach is good and your presentation is good, you will write apps. 10 doors a day probably won't make you rich. I'm just giving you a baseline. If you're doing 10 doors a day, every day, 6 days a week, 1 week might be a little better than others, 1 week might be a little worse, but you're going to have a constant flow of a streamlined income. With your pay through, that back end commission should start growing that a little bit as well. 20, 30, 40, 100 calls a day, 200 calls a day, whatever that is. If you just start there, you'll have consistent income. If you knock 30 doors on Monday, wrote 3-4 policies, go out on Tuesday, 2 doors are slammed on your face, first one was at 10, you're home by noon because you're soft, then yeah, your income's going to be inconsistent. That's a you problem. That's not a company problem.
Don't know how to prospect neighborhoods?
Hey, I'm Will with Senior Life. Your neighbors weren't home. I stopped by to see them, but we sent mailers to everybody in this neighborhood. I didn't get yours back. When would be a good time to sit down and go over the information with you? You're gonna get a lot of doors slammed in your face, but a few people are gonna say hi. Keep note everywhere you go, every neighborhood you're in. Look for wheelchair ramps and look for oxygen signs. If you stick to that, nothing else. If you never T-knock, square knock, whatever the hell you want to call it, neighborhood roll, if you just stop at the doors that have wheelchair ramps and oxygen signs, those people most likely are your client base.
Replacement business ethical concerns.
Are the concerns that you're being ethical or that other people out here coming in behind you are being unethical? Or is it a push from upper management? If it's a push from upper management, leave. If one of the first things the first person that ever trained me told me, and it stuck with me since the very beginning, was leave these people in better shape than I found them. I don't go see anybody, I never have, with the thought of replacing the business they've already got. They had that insurance policy when they sent this form in. This is a setup for you. They sent it in. It's all in how you ask and set this up, right? I knock on the door. Oh, I already got insurance. How long have you had that? Or have you had that for a while? Yeah, just like this. If they're like 30 days, that's a different scenario. You've got to get them at the door. Like, hey, I'm already here. You sent this in. You're shopping. Worst case, I can give you some numbers. If you like my system, if you like what I've got better than what you've got, switch. If not, I'll be out of here in 10 minutes. That's not the normal, right? If they've got coverage, they knew they had coverage when they sent this in. How many times do you walk into Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, Kohl's, anywhere you go, and as soon as you walk in the door, somebody asks if they can help you with anything, and you tell them no. You're there looking for something. You don't know everything in every aisle. That person can probably help you out. You just don't want to deal with it. It's the same thing. Their natural response is they already have life insurance. Half of them are lying to you. I can't tell you how many policies I've written where they told me they already bought. And what that meant was they've got another lead from another company on their kitchen counter. They haven't even sent it in. Ask them how long have you had that policy for a while? Yeah, a couple years. Right, so you had that when you sent this in, right? Were you just looking for a little extra coverage, or did you want something specific for the funeral? You're in the house, okay? It's really that simple.
CRM systems too complicated.
Just do some research. Build your Google Sheets. Can be pretty simple. figure out what works for you. Do some searching. Get ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, something. Tell them what you like, what you don't like about your CRM, and what you want out of one. And they'll tell you where to go, what to buy, or how to build it.
Building credibility with senior prospects. No.
You have a senior that sent in a form or went online and specifically sought you out, saw a commercial that said, call this number, or they were doing something on Facebook, YouTube, and an ad popped up that talked about life insurance for seniors. They clicked on that and filled it out. They called and gave the information, or they filled out a form and mailed it in. There should really be no credibility that you're worried about building there. If you are concerned with what you're doing for a living, your attitude, your thought process, what's going on in your head, can do a lot of damage if it's not correct when you walk into this house. If you don't feel good about what you're doing, it's going to come off that way to the client.
Difficulty explaining simplified issue.
How is this difficult? Simplified issue. It's simple underwriting. We ask you a few questions, you pass this, you're covered, you're good to go.
Override structures don't make sense.
Your override structure doesn't make sense because the agency you're with, again, you're in upline purgatory. It doesn't make sense because you know in the back of your mind you've got this feeling the company pays a much larger commission than what you're actually getting. And you're a manager, MGA, and it doesn't make sense. Like, how can you work this hard and make so little? That's the system that you got locked into when you started. Luckily, the contracts that I have, right, if you're at 110%, and the guy that you're working for, the lady that you're working for is at 115 or 120, you're not stuck waiting on them to get a raise so that you get a raise. Period. If you reach the level to get your contract bump, you automatically reach that contract. You make 150%. I don't care how many MGAs you have above you in my agency. It's very simple. You reach this level, you earn that contract. Period.
Can't afford to hire support staff. Yeah.
Right now, there's too many automations, there's too many systems, there's too many things in place for you to stress over hiring a support staff. It can be beneficial to have a human being putting hands on some of this stuff, but one of two things is happening. Either your back end is ridiculous. The insurance companies, the carriers are covering 99% of your back end at almost every carrier that I can think of. So your support, what do you need support with? You need somebody to set appointments. There's systems. I hate to throw this at you. AI, chat, whatever. Just spend 20 minutes on Grok, N8N, Go High Level, a make scenario. Inside these systems, just you look at their consoles. You can build an agent tied into your phone number. If you're talking about just handling text communication, scheduling your appointments, we have a system in place. You work for Net Family Financial. Every lead piece you come in is set in an automated trigger and it's nurtured. You can still call them yourself, but I have a system in place that starts contacting these people immediately. Cell phone, text, and email. And their whole goal is to drive them to your calendar to schedule your appointment, right? So if I'm uploading 20 leads into your system a day, you still have the ability to call them on your own. You have the ability to go out and door knock them on your own, whatever that is. And then from there, I'm also running Facebook, social media campaigns targeting the areas that you want to work. If you're a door knocker, this is going to this is going to be put out. If Cleveland, Ohio, for instance, if you want to stay in that area in Cleveland, we're going to produce a bunch of content in your voice, not a recorded voice, but like your brand, who you are, okay? And it's blasted throughout the week. 8 to 10 pieces of content a day are going to go out within 3-4 months. Everybody in your hometown should know who you are and that you're the person that's selling final expense, and they should be reaching out to you. On top of that, voice agents, chat. I have a whole system set up, and by day 2, you'll have a calendar with 2 to 3 appointments in it every single day. So if your whole life has revolved, especially for door rockers, on how many doors does it take to get inside of a door, imagine you got a system that's already in place where you didn't pick up the phone once. This system has called these people and scheduled it. You know you're going to be in this area on Tuesday. You're going to have 2 or 3 appointments set up. It drives them to your calendar. Yes, some of them are going to text you. Yes, some of them are going to call you. Some of them are going to tell you to stop. The same thing happens. But I can tell you, within the first 218 leads that I had in the system, I generated 16 appointments in 48 hours.
Leads in wrong demographic area.
That happens. That happens.
Policies lapsing after first payment.
Did you set up the payment correctly? Do they know this is going to be drafting? Did you give them false promises? Do they want when I see this happening, again, you're not going to keep every client, but as a manager, if you see agents writing business and they did 20 policies last month and 6 of them lapsed after the first payment, these are debit card people. And how many of the carriers advance on debit cards, right? They're not getting, they figured out a way to game the system so that they can set up a checking account to get paid, to get their advance. And if they're going to do that, they need to babysit these people all the way through and make sure they switch their direct deposit. I was never a fan of it. A lot of these clients, there's a reason they have Direct Express. Either tell yourself from day one, you're going to take the Direct Express, you're going to take the paid as earned, build your back end, whatever, or just don't take it and understand that that's a lead you're not going to sell. And if they're lapsing outside of that, they're writing a check to get you out of the door. You're pushing too hard. You don't have a presentation. Your setup sucks. They want you to go, but they're nice. So they'll write you a check, especially if it's not good today, right? A week later, the thing goes through. As soon as they see it hit their bank account, they're calling corporate. They're canceling that policy. That's why your policies are lapsing. Either you're writing bad business and not finishing the second piece because these people are Direct Express clients, or you're pushing too hard. You're overselling. Stop selling face value. Sell affordability. You sell affordability, you'll have an 85 to 95% persistency.
Online lead generation seems impossible.
It can be impossible. Everything's impossible if you don't try. Everything is. If you were a field agent and then you told me you made calls one day for 2 hours, it didn't do anything, that telesales is impossible. Right. Telesales agent, same thing, right? If generating your own leads online is impossible, how the hell are the carriers doing it, and how are the lead generating companies doing it?
Getting trapped in MLM structure.
The only way to not get trapped is find the very few carriers that will allow you to come on without being part of without one of these systems in place. Very few of them do it anymore because it's easier on the carriers. Or again, yes, we have a tiered structure, but if I have an agent that grows an agency that has 10 agents on it, and one of those agents grows an agency that has 30 agents on it, and they're making an override on all of them, and one of those agents 4 levels down is writing $40,000 a month on their own, or 20 grand on their own, starts building, they reach 100,000, 150,000, their agency is going to outgrow the people that are ahead of them. I don't hold you back.
Presentation takes too long.
Shorten it. Learn how to communicate with these people. Figure out what is no longer needed. Presentation taking too long. Phone presentations typically don't. If you're one of the, I've seen some AIL presentations that are ridiculous. And even some of the Lincoln Heritage presentations. If you believe the chest pounding in the meetings that like you have to read this and do this verbatim because this guy invented it 20 years ago, and if you change it, you're not going to succeed. I can tell you that most of the agents that you see that aren't building a team, that are writing $20,000 to $30,000 a month, they're not doing that presentation.
Don't understand vesting schedules.
Vesting should be pretty simple. You're however long you're there. If it's a 2-year vesting and you're there for 2 years and a day, you're vested, which means if your contract is terminated beyond that point, all of your residuals comes to you. Whatever the vesting period is, if you leave, get fired, quit prior, you don't get it. Your upline inherits your residual income for every piece of business that you wrote.
Competing against captive agents.
There's enough business out there for everybody.
No clear path to management.
I've worked in systems like this. Some of this industry is, nobody's going to tell you. This isn't almost every final expense situation that I know, people are contracted. So even though you're on an agency and you're working for somebody and in a group, if I don't care if you wrote 2 policies, if you have an interest in training people, you want to grow a team simply because if I write 5 a month and then I have 5 other people write 5 a month, I've effectively helped 25 families instead of just the 5 that I've got. Whatever your purpose is for getting into management, just do it. Just start recruiting, start hiring. Bring people to meetings, have people do ride-alongs with you, show people what you do, talk about it. Trust me, even if the one person between you and the rest of the higher-ups is not letting you have these conversations or is trying to keep you out of this scenario, go around them. Or I'm hiring.
Telesales distractions at home.
That's just you got to set it up right. Fill your day. That can be a problem. I get it. I went through this during COVID because I had no setup. It was one day I was a field agent, then people stopped answering the doors, and then I had to learn how to sell on phones overnight. Kids were home. Schools were closed. Find a system. Give yourself time. Or small office. Find somebody that's got an office share or something, even if it's not one of those big, fancy corporate places. I mean, you can find a place to work for $100, $150 a month. It's not going to drain you. Even if you do a few hours at home, take a lunch, and then go do 5-6 hours somewhere else, in that office or vice versa.
Underwriting declines, killing momentum.
That's just you're just in your head. You're not doing enough to sell enough. So if underwriting declines a deal and it kills your momentum, it's because you're relying on every single deal you come in to come in the door, every single piece. And I've been there. I've seen agents there. I'm not saying it's not a real thing. Track your numbers. Know your numbers. If you can focus on the numbers, you know how much closer you are to that next sale, right? So when I leave a house, the easiest way to sell a deal is to just come off of a sale. You're high on life. You're excited. You just made some money, right? You're happy. You're knocking. If you're leaving that sale, especially if it's middle of the day or getting off the phone, and then you're celebrating, you can't do that. Know your numbers. Focus on the numbers, and eventually you'll have enough coming in that when one falls through, we all want every deal to stick. I also wish that for the last 10 years, me and everybody else that I've ever trained has been at 100% persistency, and none of these clients ever die. It's not going to happen. Again, Walmart takes returns.
Fear of saturating territorium.
Unless the town you live in has like 1,000 people and there's nobody else around on the outskirts of your town for like 100+ miles, you have zero ability to saturate your market. It's just that, like, get out of your head. Figure out something else to blame why you're not picking up the phones on every day.
Building a referral system.
The referral system can be simple. You can complicate it, whatever you want to do. The biggest situation there that I've ever seen from agents is mostly they just aren't consistent in asking. They don't do it. They don't do it every day. They don't do it every client. I used to work with a guy. He's crazy, but I liked it. He got most of his referrals from door knocks that didn't close. That wouldn't even let him in. He just his personality, the way he talked to these people at the door, like even if they weren't going to let him in, and they're like, to try to get something out of something, right? Like I'm in this area, it's the heat, this rain, blah, 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 right? Like get them giggling. They may generally not be interested because sometimes that's all it takes to actually get in that house is just to get them talking to you about anything. But he would go like, hey, everything you don't need this, I get that. But somewhere in the back of your mind, that one person, that if they passed away today, the family would be reaching out to as many people as possible to get them put in the ground. There'd be a GoFundMe tomorrow if this person or these two people passed away. How do I get in touch with them? Ask every time. If 2 people a week send you to that person and you write 50% of those, that's an extra 4 deals a month.
Balancing multiple carrier appointments.
I've been against this my whole career. Especially if your multiple carriers have limits, don't bite off more than you can chew, right? You want this contract with all these carriers, but they all require you to give them first right of refusal or however many submissions or however much production on a monthly or quarterly or annual basis. Figure out a way to sell that much or stop. Like, listen, Lincoln Heritage, I had 2 products. We weren't the cheapest. But I outwrote all of you, especially people like all of you. Trust me. Where it's in your life, I have a portfolio of products to match everything that your brokerage needs you to remember. You don't need that many products, or that many carriers, okay? You just don't. Stop being afraid that you're going to lose that one piece of business because you don't have the one carrier. If you want to deal with that one carrier, specialize and sell that one weird scenario that only that carrier covers and just market the hell out of it.
Dealing with buyer's remorse calls.
You oversold them. You didn't sell them on comfortability. You didn't set it up to sell them on comfortability. Look, Mrs. Smith, if you're like the rest of my clients, you're probably on a fixed income, correct? So before I show you anything, I need to know that the monthly payment that we set up for you today is comfortable for you, not just today, but every month. If it's good for you now, but when the AC bill gets higher this summer, if that's going to hurt, then I need to know the number that's good for you every single month. Some of these payments are going to be $15, $20, but you're going to write people that are, $200-$300 between a husband and wife or just one person. Like it balances out. The average monthly premium in final expense is somewhere around $75. It's industry-wide, agency-wide. I don't care how many groups you do this with. If you write enough business, you'll be fine.
Creating a unique value proposition.
Like if you don't have a system, if you don't have a group, if you don't have somebody training you on a presentation, on a value proposition, on how to make this work, reverse engineer it. What's the value in your product? What's the value in you? What's the value in dealing with you over the phone or dealing with you face to face? Are they going to have access to you? What does your company, your niche provide? And role play with your spouse, your kids, your parents, your buddy, right? And get it down like it's natural, right? So that no matter what somebody throws at you, get cocky about it to the point that you're so arrogant about what your company does or what you do that everybody else doesn't, that as far as you're concerned, you are the only person
not even the company you represent, but you're the only person that anybody should be dealing with. Like Perplexity has or whatever the hell it is, has a system on there. You can, and Claude, you can build a sales scenario where in about 10 minutes, and just go over this back and forth, and it'll help you build your value prop if you literally have no other options.
Technology adoption for older agents.
Stop being afraid, man. The world's turning. Like, if you don't adopt it, you probably already see your business slowing down because there's so many of us out here creating systems to make life better for our clients and for our agents. If you're not willing to adopt it, like, if the first thing out of your mouth is, oh, my grandkids know how to use this, I'm scared of phones, fucking quit this industry.
Scaling lead flow for agency.
Turn up the heat, right? Stop being afraid to spend your money to build your business. Look at any other corporation out there, okay? I don't care what your override scale is. I don't care how much you're making or not, right? Pay your bills and then take every dollar after that, invest into this, into scaling your lead flow for your agency until you can't even throw any more at it, right? If you need $5,000, if you're an MGA making $20K and you need $6,000 to pay your bills, you get $14,000 a month to throw at scaling. You're not saving it, right? You don't need that new car. Like, you can only wear so many suits. Nobody gives a shit about your glasses or your Armani. Nobody, right? You want to grow your agency, throw money at it. Like, look at the percentage of major corporations, their profit margin, right? Yeah, I mean, you don't have to live on 3%. You're not Coca-Cola, but throw money at it. And if you don't have money to throw at it, go bananas on organic, 15, 20 posts a day across 5 to 10 platforms, whatever you can find. Even if you don't understand the platform, just throw it at it. Make three different TikTok accounts, 3 different Facebook pages. Post the same damn thing. We do this for you, by the way.
Protecting book of business legally.
Protecting your book of business legally, what you're asking is, do you work for a company where you don't actually own your book of business? If you leave, yeah, you get your residuals, but you're not allowed to do anything with it. The legalities are in your contract. Take it to an attorney, upload it to ChatGPT, read it. The legalities are there. It will tell you what you are and you are not allowed to do, and then you've got the option: break it and risk giving up your residuals, or don't and just start over when you go somewhere else. That's what you're really asking, is how can you circumvent the contract that you signed when you started? You can't. It's legal, it's binding. Figure out a way to I'm gonna buy your book of business from them. That's an option.